Hello, my dear friends all over the world. My name is John Ekperijin. I'm about to introduce to you a project, the Fitness Challenge. The reason why I'm concerned about this is that I'm a father, I'm a grandfather, I'm a husband, and a friend to millions of people all over the world. So what's my concern? I'm a wellness consultant, and I can see the trends in the world today that there is a decline in terms of deteriorating health all over the world. I'm working with a large group of people all over the world who are also concerned citizens that are thinking about this health challenge. We observe that there's a negative trend. People are dying as a result of simple things that would have been prevented. But what can be adduced as the reason why people are dying as a result of these prevailing ailments of today? It has to do with our nutrition, lack of proper nutrition. What we eat today has deviated from what people ate in those days. In fact, jokingly they say we eat modern diets that are synthetic and chemicalized. Toxins everywhere. In fact, our environment is toxic. Inside us is toxic. What we eat daily, what we breathe in, the water we drink, the colorants, preservatives, these are toxic problems. What about our colon itself? They say death begins from the colon. And so there is a lot of heap of waste product that we don't eliminate regularly. And this has become the breeding ground for harmful bacteria. And the body reabsorbs some of these toxins. What else? The modern medical theory, known as the free radicals, damaging the cells day in, day out in millions, creating cancers and so many problems. Of course, we cannot diagnose these free radicals in the laboratory. These are all issues. So, where do we go from there? The reason why we are sharing this awareness today is, number one, these problems are problems that are preventable. Yet, bad enough, many people are not even aware of this. So the fitness challenge is basically a campaign strategy where we want to create a momentum. The whole world got to be involved in this. We need to fight this to the end. Take a look at this video. This is a must look. It will shock you to know what is going inside us today. It will also shock you to know why people are just dying today. In fact, if you look at this, it will certainly touch your soul to the extent that you want to be involved in this campaign. This trend must stop. In fact, now we need to join hands together to fight this trend. People are dying in millions as a result of ailments WHO described as the prevailing ailments of our time. Diabetes, high blood pressure, hypertension, cancers of different nature, and then issues that borders on cardiac problems.
So you're walking around with too much abdominal fat. This fat you're looking at is visceral fat. It doesn't just sit there. It truly is toxic goop encircling all of your organs. It's increasing inflammation. It actually secretes chemicals that increase inflammation throughout your body. But it also affects your cardiovascular system. It increases, over time, your blood pressure, amongst other things. And as all these parameters are changing, your abdomen, that visceral belly fat, is doing other things. It's increasing production of something called interleukin-6. This chemical further increases inflammation throughout your body. And as this happens, something else really interesting is occurring. Your metabolism is being governed by this excess body fat. Adiponectin is affected. And what does it do when you don't have enough of it? It tells you to store more belly fat. So it's a vicious cycle to poor health. Your liver is overwhelmed with cholesterol. Well, what does that lead to? Plaque buildup in your arteries. And when you get plaque buildup, what happens next? Oftentimes, I see you in the ER, fatal heart attack, and everyone always says, What could I have done differently? Well, the answer is right here now, you've got to target excess belly fat. Belly fat leads to heart disease, cancer, stroke, arthritis, type 2 diabetes, even sexual dysfunction. And I don't want everyone to have to deal with that. Well, what happens if you actually get rid of belly fat and develop a leaner belly? You know what? Studies show you'll actually be smarter. You'll sleep better. Sounds good to me. You'll have a healthier heart. Better sex. They look pretty happy, don't they? Even more money.
Fat is much more than an extra inch on our waistline. It spreads throughout the entire body. For the first time, a high-definition endoscope, inserted through the navel, reveals the full extent of fat cover inside the abdomen. The intestines are smothered in yellow fat deposits. Fat finds its way into almost every available space of our bodies, even inside our blood vessels. Deposits build up on the inner walls, narrowing the tube. The heart has to work harder to pump blood through the restricted vessels. In extreme cases, fat can block the vessels completely. If fat blocks the arteries that supply the heart, the result can be fatal. The heart muscles are deprived of oxygen and nutrients. The muscle risks going into spasm, a heart attack. Heart disease is the biggest killer in the Western world.
Everywhere you look, it seems a heart attack is just waiting to happen. More than 1 million heart attacks a year. That's one just about every 30 seconds, just in the United States. If you haven't had a heart attack yourself, you likely know someone who has. Well, I've got a secret to share. With what we know right now, we could see the last heart attack in America. I've been investigating this for over a year. I've got lessons to share. Things you need to know. Things your doctor may not tell you.
I was lucky I didn't die of a heart attack.
Former President Clinton.
Everybody who cared about me was scared, and I felt bright and serene. I thought, gosh, we dodged a bullet. I didn't have a heart attack. When you're just not sure you can come back, that bothered me.
We all know plaque is bad. Blocks your blood vessels. Plaque is formed by LDL cholesterol in the blood, the bad cholesterol. Think of it as L for lousy, building up on the walls of your arteries, forming plaque. It can accumulate slowly over time, narrowing the blood vessels, like something building up inside a pipe. This narrowing in the blood vessels leading to your heart can cause chest pain, called angina. It can also cause a heart attack. Ever wonder how seemingly healthy people can have a heart attack? This may surprise you. Most heart attacks happen in people with no symptoms. In people whose arteries are less than 50% blocked. Here's how. Cholesterol can cause unstable bubbles or blisters of plaque to form in your arteries. These can be incredibly dangerous. Most are covered by a cap, but inflammation and stress can cause the cap to thin and rupture, resulting in a clot that blocks the flow of blood to the heart. Robbed of oxygen, the heart muscle can't function properly. Heart attack.
Hello, I'm Dr. Gerald Chodak. Strokes can be extremely dangerous events. If a blood vessel becomes blocked or ruptures, oxygen and nutrients can no longer reach the brain, and within minutes, brain cells begin to die. Ischemic strokes are caused when blood vessels become obstructed, choking off the brain's oxygen supply. Ischemic strokes account for more than 80% of all strokes. A cerebral thrombosis occurs when a blood clot known as a thrombus develops in a cerebral artery located in the brain. These clots usually happen in blood vessels that have been damaged by atherosclerosis, a condition in which plaque and fatty deposits build up on artery walls. A blockage in a cerebral artery can cut off the brain's blood supply and cause a stroke. A cerebral thrombosis is the most common type of stroke, with a history of high cholesterol. Embolic strokes are caused by an embolus, or a blood clot that develops in one part of the body, but then breaks off, travels through the bloodstream, and becomes lodged in a smaller artery in the brain. Hemorrhagic strokes are caused when a blood vessel ruptures and spills blood into the brain. A subarachnoid hemorrhage occurs due to the rupture of an aneurysm, which is an abnormal bulge on a blood vessel wall, typically at the base of the brain. As blood flows through the affected area, it fills the aneurysm, and just like a water balloon, the more fluid that's added, the bigger it gets, stretching the walls until they finally burst. When an aneurysm ruptures, blood pours into the space between the skull and the delicate membrane surrounding the brain. This causes dangerous fluid buildup that presses on the brain and destroys brain cells. When this happens, blood spills into the brain and clots. This blood clot may be as small as a thumbnail or as large as an orange, and it creates dangerous pressure on the brain. Intracerebral hemorrhages are often the result of high blood pressure. All strokes have a similar effect on the brain. They deprive it of oxygen. When this happens, brain cells become damaged or die, and parts of the body can no longer function properly. Depending on the area of the brain affected, strokes can impact the body in many ways. They may impair movement and sensation, or cause difficulty in thinking and reasoning. While strokes can be serious, even deadly events, it's important to remember that they can be treated. They can also be prevented by identifying and controlling the risk factors that cause strokes in the first place.
But 60% of food that we eat every day has a potentially dangerous secret lurking in its DNA. Growth defects, infertility, disease, and allergies have all been linked to the creation and consumption of genetically engineered food. But somehow, these issues have been swept aside. Questions we should be asking, like where does my food come from and how safe is it? Dr. Arpad Pushtai from the Rowett Research Institute in Aberdeen uncovered a shocking truth about species manipulation while he was conducting a GMO experiment on rats. Pushtai found that when his rats ate genetically modified potatoes, they developed cancerous cells in their intestinal tracts and brains. A group of pigs were pumped with a human growth hormone that was designed to make them grow bigger and faster than normal, but the procedure didn't go according to plan. The pigs were born severely deformed. Some didn't even have an anus or genitals. One scary possibility that could occur from eating these foods is that we become susceptible to DNA-related diseases. like Pushti's rats and their cancerous intestines, there's a chance that similar DNA mutations could also occur in humans from eating GM foods. And this could cause irreversible genetic damage to our bodies. And the terrifying part about all this is that in the USA, we have no idea when we're shoveling these frankenfoods into our mouths. Why? Because the GM growth hormone, RBGH, which is injected into milk-producing cows, has been proven to have cancer-causing properties. GM skeptics say there hasn't been enough testing to determine the outcome of drinking milk from a genetically modified cow. The new proteins added to crops like soybean have been linked to an increase in serious food allergies, which can cause rash, diarrhea, difficulty breathing, and in serious cases, anaphylaxis and death. What's scary about these adverse reactions to GMOs is that they can't be avoided by just leaving those foods out of your diet. Once you've been exposed, the crop's DNA can make it into your own and integrate itself into your genetic makeup. This means that it could be years since you last drank GM soy milk, but you could still suffer from the nasty symptoms caused by its allergenic protein, and the natural form of wild crops are wiped off the planet. This would leave us totally vulnerable to the dangers of genetically modified food, where every mouthful is a gamble with our life.
Cancers like breast, liver, colon, kidney, and prostate at epidemic levels.
Why are birth defects in brain, liver, and kidney disease such national issues?
Sinus and asthma problems have also become major health issues.
And why are so-called old age illnesses now attacking our children?
What's going on? The short of it is that our immune systems are breaking down. Drug companies can't work fast enough to give us remedies to fix our illnesses.
The problem is that their remedies often cause side effects that are worse than the illness itself. In the next few minutes, we'll discuss a primary cause of these health issues, and then we'll discuss the solution.
Let's be specific. We're going to mention some seriously toxic ingredients.
We'd like to issue a challenge.
Here's a short list of the top 12 toxic ingredients you'll find in your home. In fact,
Once again, check these ingredients against the products you use.
first, propylene glycol, butylene glycol, or ethylene glycol.
Check your facial cleansers, shampoos, conditioners, toothpaste, underarm deodorants, and baby products. These glycols act as surfactants, wetting agents, and solvents. They penetrate the skin fast, weaken protein and cellular structure.
They're strong enough to remove barnacles from boats. The EPA warns us not to pour them into our soil, yet we smear them on our bodies. Contact with these glycols may cause brain, liver, and kidney malfunction.
Yet, about 1/3 of all the beauty and personal care products you use morning, afternoon, and evening contain them and do not have a warning label.
Yet you'll find sodium hydroxide in most common toothpastes, especially the ones claiming total or extra whitening. I guess they figure if it cleans your drains, it'll do a good job on your teeth. It's also in many of your soaps and facial cleansers.
Third, sodium lauryl sulfate, sodium lauryl sulfate, or ammonium lauryl sulfate. These sulfates are strong detergents. They're used in garage floor cleaners and engine degreasers.
Yet they'll be in 90%, get that, 90% of your beauty and personal care products that foam. Why? It's the cheapest way to create foam. They're linked to eye damage, depression, diarrhea, skin irritation, and even death.
Our bodies retain these sulfates for extensive periods of time. This means that even smaller dosages amount up to higher and higher levels of toxicity in our bodies. Think of what that means to smaller bodies, like infants and children. Think of the unborn infants. Any wonder why attention deficit and learning disabilities are at epidemic proportions?
DEA, MEA, or TEA. These are hormone-disrupting chemicals with ties to cancer. The EPA says that repeated applications result in major increases in liver, breast, and kidney cancer.
The risk is significantly increased in children. PEG, or polyethylene glycol. This is a carcinogenic petroleum compound that reduces the skin's natural moisture. Prolonged use seriously ages the skin. In addition, it has links to all forms of cancer.
DMDM, or urea. These are preservatives that release formaldehyde.
Mineral oil. It's another petroleum product that coats the skin like saran wrap. Baby oil is 100% mineral oil, triclosan. It's a synthetic antibacterial with a chemical structure similar to Agent Orange. The EPA registers it as a pesticide.
Parabens, or anything that has paraben as part of its name. They are hormone-disrupting chemicals.
Isopropyl alcohol. It ages and dries the skin, promoting wrinkles and brown spots.
FD and C color pigments. These are synthetic colors from coal tar. They scored the highest mark on the toxic scale.
Fragrances. They may contain up to 4,000 ingredients. Animal urine is most often used to create the desired smell.
This is a consequence of fecal matter not being eliminated from the bowel on a timely basis, the weight of that fecal matter causing the bowel to drop or prolapse. When that colon hits the lower part of the abdomen, it's going to put undue pressure on the structures there, bladder, perhaps prostate in the male, and in the female, the uterus and the female organs, causing consequences in those areas. Here's a picture of the normal anatomy of the female abdomen. Notice the uterus, the ovaries, and then the colon. When the colon prolapses, it's going to put pressure on the uterus. Some of the consequences of prolapsed colon can cause female infections, cysts, and even struggles with reproduction. Here's a view of the male anatomy of the lower abdomen. Notice the proximity of the colon to the bladder and the prostate. Some of the consequences can be prostate problems, reproductive problems, even lowered sex drive. Ask you a question. If you're taking a bath or a shower every day to keep the outside clean, why wouldn't you want to keep the inside clean too? It just makes sense. This whole auto-intoxication process can lead to premature aging, never mind disease. Remember, we age from the inside out, not the outside in. If you want to stay young and healthy, simply apply the principles of health that I've outlined in this video. As a doctor and being in practice for over 20 years, I can tell you these principles work, and now I am sharing them with you. I apply them myself, and I reap the health benefits. Here I am, age 47, and people still think I'm in my 30s. It does work. The responsibility for your health is up to you. Take that responsibility. No one else can do that for you. Get started on the products. Take the other action steps outlined in this video. You've been armed with the truth. What you do with it is up to you. The choice is yours. Remember, health is a gift. Disease is something that we earn.
Everyone wants better health.
Everyone wants to live longer.
And everyone wants to look younger and enjoy life more as they age.
And now, for the first time in history, there are proven natural products that people can use to feel better, lose weight, prevent disease, and become younger and stronger even as they grow older.
Now, my friends, you have watched the video. What can you observe from the video? It is now very, very clear that what we are eating today does not provide all that the body needs anymore in terms of nourishment, in terms of the body healing food. Number two, it is also very clear that even if you think you are taking organic food or fruits from the villages, it is also very clear that the soil itself is acidic and does not provide the nourishment that we need from the fruits and vegetables. It's very clear that the fruit and vegetables, the processing and the handling has been compromised. Do you know that even some village people know that they need to use carbide in ripening this fruit? It's also very clear now that detox is not just drinking water. What about the fat-soluble toxins? What about the hydrocarbons that are in the fat? Exercises also may not give you what they call good health. We may be very, very well fed, overfed, increasing the visceral fat in our stomach. We will be overfed with the things that the body does not need. Yes, we are undernourished. So what do we do about this? I won't leave you just like that without solution. This is why we say we need to go to the next level. We need to look at, one, how do we detoxify the whole lot of things that goes into us? Number two, how do we now make up? How do we make up for those things that our body needs but the food lack it? What do we do about all this? And then number three, we need to also begin to imagine how can we be well and make our family members and friends to be well. So, we need to send you the next video now, Family and Friends Speak Together, where you can see where organic food supplements. The package I'm going to give to you, one is to take care of all the issues as using one pack to solve all the problems. Go ahead and enjoy yourself. Thank you very much.